President of the United States, Mr. Donald J. Trump.
And here we are on a Saturday morning, and look at what we're doing. We're building up the USA instead of playing golf or what it is great. All over the country, it's this kind of a response. And I want to thank Build the Wall. We'll build the wall, don't worry, I promise. I promise we will build the wall.
Build the wall!
If there's ever a second term, you'll say, man, he got that wall built fast. We'll say, we'll build the wall, don't worry. Love the wall. I love the wall, too. We need it. It's not like love, it's like we need it. I want to thank the fire marshal and his folks. They've been incredible. There were tremendous thousands of people outside trying to get in. And they're keeping exits open. They've got them covered and everything else. And I did say, what's the burden? We have a concrete floor, right? But the fire marshal was fantastic, so I want to thank him very much. Instead of people walking away, they got him in, and I appreciate it. Trump for truth, you better believe it. So Waterbury. You know, the other candidates don't even come up to Connecticut and campaign. I love Connecticut. I lived in Connecticut. I actually lived here for a long time. It's a great place. I'll come back maybe someday if I can have it slow down a little bit. But I know it very well. And I also know the problems. Oh, how did you lose General Electric? You can't do that. Fellas, how did you do that? See, now there's one that's not moving to another country. The country I can take care of. But when they move to a different state, you gotta handle yourself. We can't, right? Let's move into a different, we gotta do something about that. Maybe we can turn their decision around. I don't know, you know? Well, I don't want to get into a fight with Massachusetts. You know, I won that with almost 50% of the vote. So Massachusetts is good. So you know what? When they start moving from state to state, that's different. But when they move from here to Mexico, that I can solve. When China takes your jobs, that I can solve. When Japan takes advantage of us, that I can solve. And fast. And that's where most of the problems are. So, you know, I've been doing this. Thank you. Yeah. All right, get him out. Get him out. I was leaving and they showed a couple of protesters and they went, Waters, a good guy, Jesse, but they interviewed a couple of people. So why are you here? I don't know. And I saw it last week on television. I saw they had some protesters and they went up and interviewed them. You know, they were hoping for some really bad stuff. What do you think of Donald Trump? Actually, I like him very much. And you're holding a sign. What? Yeah, they gave it to me. Well, why are you protesting? Honestly, I don't know. These are the protesters. Believe me, folks, it's a whole big con job that's being played, okay? It's a whole big con job. So look, Waterbury, we love Waterbury, but we gotta talk about it. We gotta you know, I did this for the last couple of weeks because I've been going around to the local places that I love, Connecticut, New York. Did we win big in New York? You know, I see these people like Karl Rove on television. He says, well, Donald Trump did not get 50%. I got 17 people. You know, I originally had 17 people, right? 17. And they'd say I'd win with like 32%. Now that's 32%, I have 16 other people. And they say, Donald Trump did not break 50%. And you know, the amazing thing is, and they never talk about it. And even in this, you know, the 1237, I mean, it's really not fair because if you think about it, the first 7, 8, 9, 10 states, I had many, many people. And even now we have 3. Now, they're both mathematically eliminated. They should drop out, in all fairness. Lion Ted Cruz is mathematically he's disgraceful. Lion Ted, who, by the way, came in a deep, deep third last week. How can somebody run for president when you're so bad in New York? What did you get, like a little bit above 10%? Now, how do you run for president if you can't get, and in Connecticut, he's going to do terribly. And Case is not going to do very well. Now, we have nice calls. What? Get him out. So you say to yourself, that's very good, I like that, I'm going to use that. But you know, when you think of it, we have to unite the Republican Party because we're going to win. You know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I was watching the other day, this is a true number, I had no idea it was so bad. 55,000 negative ads against me. 55,000. Now, I was in Florida, won Florida in a landslide, you saw that, 20%. 20%. Won it in a landslide, and a great state. And I thought I'd do well. And they tried to fix, you know, it's all rigged, folks, just so you know. Now, they rigged Florida. Florida was rigged. Because you have a popular senator, Marco Rubio, a good guy, and you have a governor, a past governor, but he's a good guy. I like people, you know, after the race, I like everybody. During the race, I don't like them so much. That's the way it's supposed to be, right? No, Marco is a good guy. And he's got a great future, I think. But you have Jeb Bush. So they have the sitting senator, they had the former governor. And so they said, oh, well, this one of those two again. So what we'll do in Florida, 99, second biggest to California, where we're looking very good. We're almost up to 50% in California. And Indiana, and by the way, would I like to get Coach Bobby Knight, who is a great coach, would I like to get his endorsement, okay? Let's see if I get it. But would I like to get the endorsement of Bobby Knight, one of the great coaches, tough, strong, smart? Would I like to get that for Indiana? I'll tell you what, that would be, to me, a great endorsement. When they talk about endorsements, that would be great. But when you think about it, so we have Florida, and I'm telling you, the system, it's a bad system, folks, bad system. Because in theory, you could buy the nomination. All you have to do is take all these delegates out to dinner, you could send them to Paris, you can give them anything, but you're not allowed to give them cash. So you can give them a flight to Paris, friends. Although I want to stay in this country, to be honest with you. We're going to stay right here. Let's change it. We can give them a flight to Doral in Miami, or we can give them a flight to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, okay? But no, think of it, how ridiculous. So you can do anything you want, and you wine them and dine them, and then they say, okay, they're going to vote for you. You do this like 50 times. All of a sudden, you know, you take $100 million, and you do it. There's no limit. What kind of an election process is this? That's right. And I learned in Louisiana, you remember, they said, you know, I wasn't supposed to win the South. I won the South. I love the South. In fact, if Connecticut doesn't come through for me, I'm moving to the South. The hell with Connecticut. I'm not coming back. No, but I won Alabama, I won Arkansas, I won we won, Kentucky was unbelievable. We won just everything, and we won Florida big league. So what they did in Florida is they said, all right, look, this Trump guy is trouble, because, you know, when he came in, I did well right from the beginning. My wife said, you know, and not that she wanted me to run, believe me, she would have preferred the life the way it used to be. It was a lot simpler, all right? But she said, you know, if you run, you know you're going to win, don't you? And well, she was sort of right. It's looking pretty good, I have to tell you. So what happened? And she would just see the reaction. You know, we'd go out to a movie and people would say, hey, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump. Okay, because, you know, people want something special now. We need something special. We don't need these all talk, you know, no action. They're all talk. They're all taken care of by their PACs and by their campaign contributors. If it's bad for the country, they don't care. They want to do what's good for their donors and all of these special interests. So in Florida, they said, we're going to do something because this Trump guy is like, looking, we don't like this. So what they did is they said, winner take all. Winner take all. So I wouldn't get my percentage. You know, they probably figured I was going to get 10%. And they said, winner take all. They changed all the bylaws, all the rules, everything changed, boom. And then they did a poll. Trump, 49%, the other two in the teens, right? And they said, we got a problem, we got to change it back, this is no good. Let's go proportional. And they looked at it seriously, but they couldn't do it. And then we had Florida, we won in a landslide. It was a phenomenal win, and we got all 99 delegates. They have a lot of tricky things, but Louisiana, that's where I got wise to it, because Cruz was supposed to win Louisiana, and they said he was going to get the evangelicals. There's only one problem: the evangelicals like me a lot better than they like him. That's why I won South Carolina. Remember, they said, well, South Carolina's Cruz, that's just watershed, except I won in a landslide and I got the evangelical vote. You know, the truth is, the evangelicals are amazing people. They don't like liars. They don't like lying Ted. They don't like lying Ted. You know, I always sort of have fun with it. Walks in, Bible held high, puts it down, and then he lies. He actually said yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, but he actually said, my campaign person, who's fantastic. I have a fantastic team. The original team now is supplementing. We have great people, Paul Manafort. And Paul said some really, really positive, and Paul's had great success with Reagan and with Bush and with Ford, and, you know, great success. He doesn't have to do this, like I don't have to. He didn't need to do this, but he wanted to, because he saw something, and he called me. He said, this is something special. One of the biggest people in the country called me. They said, Paul saw something special. So he's working with Corey and Hope and everybody, and it's like an amazing group of people. And Paul was down in Florida, and he said, you know, Donald might be changing a little bit over a period of time, and maybe he'll tone it down, maybe he won't, but who knows what happens. I sort of don't like toning it down, you know, we keep
No!
I'm going to talk about that in a second, because it's interesting. Isn't it nice that I'm not one of these teleprompter guys? First of all, if I was, I'd have an audience of about 3 people here in the front and say, this is the biggest crowd in the history of the school. Okay, by far, by thousands. But so what happens is Paul comes in and he made the statement and he said, you know, he's going to this and that, and he's going to talk a lot of policy, because I do love policy, and I've been right on policy, folks. You know, they don't give you, I've been right. Even the New York Times, they wrote a piece which was actually, for a change, a good piece, and it talked about my views on us defending other nations. We got to get paid for it. We can't defend everybody free of charge. We defend Japan and Germany and South Korea and Saudi Arabia. You know, like Saudi Arabia doesn't have enough money to pay for it. And frankly, they wouldn't be there very long if we weren't standing there with our ships, our planes, our people. And, you know, we got to fair. I want to be fair. We'll have a great relationship. So Paul was talking about different things, and he said, yeah, Donald can be different if he's in a room. Of course, who isn't? Actually, one of the folks today on Fox and another one on CNN, they said, well, who isn't different? When I'm in a room talking, you're one way. When I'm out here talking to you people, I got to be different, right? I mean, I can say basically the same thing. So Paul said, no, he's different when he's in a room, and then he goes out and speaks, it's different. And then if he gives policy, that's different. You know, we all have, like with smart people, you act differently, right? So Cruz picks it up, lying Ted. He goes, Donald Trump is kidding everybody. He's different on the trail. He said, and he said that he's going to do things differently. And he's not going to build the wall. What the hell does this have to do with the wall? Believe me, I'm building the wall. But lying Ted...
Build that wall! 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 Build
took a really nice meeting with the RNC, Republican National Committee. Took a really, Raphael, straight out of the hills of Canada. 4 years in Canada, was a Canadian citizen until 14, 15 months ago. And then he ran for the Senate, and they advised him, you know, you're registered as a Canadian citizen. He said, oh, I never knew that. Oh, I never. He never knew he was a Canadian. I can't believe, you know, one of the first things the Democrats, you do know this, if he wins, he's not going to win. He's so far behind. Despite the fact that they're buying off delegates with, well, you know, nice dinners and the finest steak you can have and all that stuff, despite the fact I'm 300 delegates above him and millions of votes above. So he's not going to win. But if he ever did, the first thing that the Democrats are going to do is sue him on the basis that he's not a naturalized citizen, that he wasn't born in this country. It's going to. Now, I happen to think they're going to win, but who knows? I mean, who knows what happens? We'll see what happens. But it's going to happen. He's going to be sued. Now, he didn't know he was a Canadian citizen. He's a joint U.S.-Canadian citizen. So he gave up his citizenship in Canada 14, 15 months ago. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice to know? But anyway, so he took the statement of a campaign guy who just wanted to say, we're going to all be friends. We're going to get along. Donald's not always like this. This isn't always Donald. Donald's very smart and he's very calm, which is true, actually. I actually have low blood pressure. Can you believe it? I had 110 over something. Can you imagine? I had it the doctor said, man, you have the blood pressure of a great athlete who's 20 years old. 110, I like that, you know, because I like being a great athlete. But I actually do. I said, Doc, what would have happened if I had high blood pressure? He said, you would have exploded about 30 years ago. Sure. So, you know, in one way, you have to be a little bit lucky for that stuff. But look, I love you too. Even though it's a guy, but I love you. I do love him. I love our people. You know, we have the most loyal group of people, they say, in many years. Like, I think from the beginning of polling, when they used to do polls. You know, I've made polling important. Because I used to come in, and I still do, because I can talk about Connecticut, we're way up. In every state, actually, all 5 states that we're running for this Tuesday, folks, you gotta get out and vote, please. But all 5 states, we're way up. I think my smallest lead is like 20 points or something. And Maryland is great. We just left Maryland, we had an unbelievable crowd. Pennsylvania is phenomenal. I went to school in Pennsylvania. I mean, these are all great places. Rhode Island. These are Delaware. I just left Delaware yesterday. You know, it is a Delaware corporation. I went to my people yesterday, just 10 minutes before I left, because I spoke in Delaware. We had a record-setting. We always have record-setting crowds. Now, when these other guys come in, they have like 200 people. And the people fall asleep and they leave early. But what happens? So I'm in Delaware. I said to my guy, do me a favor. Find out how many corporations or how many registrations do I have in Delaware? Yes, sir. So he comes back like, you know, he didn't have much time, in all fairness. I said, I'm leaving in 9 minutes. Can you do it? He comes back, he said, sir, it's 378. I said, 378? That's pretty good, right? That's big stuff, right? Hey, look, I built a great company. I took $1 million loan that I paid back. I took $1 million, sometimes I like to negotiate with banks. Whenever they want to negotiate, I'm okay with it. You understand it. But I took $1 million loan and I turned it into $10 billion in a fairly short period of time.
Yeah!
With some of the greatest assets anywhere in the world, with a tremendous cash flow, with very little debt, and it's all filed. I mean, I have it filed, and largely, it's hard to term by these papers, but it's the largest filing in the history of federal elections. And that's what we need in our country for a period of time at least. We need that because our country's going to hell. You're losing your jobs and everything else. I just want to finish with Louisiana though, because then we're going to get into bringing jobs back to your community.
Yeah!
So just to show you what a rigged system. So I'm supposed to lose Louisiana, but I said, I don't know why. I think they're great people. Let's, you know, why? And then I heard a poll came where I was like 10 points behind with a week to go. I said, let's go for it, right? We got to go for it. I like Louisiana. Louisiana's cool. So I got on the plane, I did some speeches, and then I made a really good, we had an airplane hangar. And I landed my plane on, it was actually Friday night, and that election took place, I think, on a Saturday, but it was the night before. And we had tens of thousands. I mean, you never saw anything. A room that's like 10 times bigger than this. It was packed with people from Louisiana. And I made a speech, an hour speech, and we had a great time. You know, considering the subject matter is lousy because we're talking about how bad our country is, but it's actually good because we're talking about bringing it back, make America great again. That's a very positive. So I made this speech, and I said, wow, that was an amazing event. And I left, and that was it. The next day they had the election, and I won. I said, wow, that's great. I won Louisiana, right? With the people.